Hello, obviously just checking everyone can hear and see my slides.
Yeah, perfect.
Thank you so much. So hi everyone. So I am Colette and I'm a lecturer in statistics at the University of Glasgow. You can tell by the overwhelming branding that I've used on the slides. So I work particularly in the School of Maths and Stats. So everything that I'm going to speak about just now is very much in collaboration with one of our final year undergraduate statistics students, Jin Xuan Fu, who completed their undergraduate project around the topic of today's discussion. So very straightforward. I'll give an introduction, some of the methods, results, and more so the discussion. So there's lots of future avenues that I can't quite talk about just now, but I'll tell you what the plan is in the future. So really, in terms of the authenticity in statistics education, I'm really coming at this from a viewpoint of employability. So once a student completes a degree program, what do they do afterwards? And I think probably everyone here can definitely agree that lots of educators, employers really value statistical skills and data analytical skills as well. And probably, I'm guessing I don't need to convince anyone that these skills are actually quite in demand in lots of different contexts, lots of different companies and industries globally. So at least I like to think that when someone graduates with a statistics degree, there's probably lots of opportunity to work in lots of different fields. But as I say, the main concept for today is employability, which is in itself is quite a complex topic. It's not just about, someone's ability to gain employment. I think it encompasses a lot about the individual and, in their professional capacity with whatever field they want to work in. So really the question is a statistics degree worth it? And I'm guessing probably everyone here would say, yes, it definitely is worth it. It's definitely worked out well for me. And again, from my own personal experiences, I guess not so much now that I'm a lecturer in statistics, but before then, the transferability of the skills that I learned were really, really helpful. I worked in lots and lots of different areas and it opened up a lot of doors. So being able to transfer skills to different applications, I think, was a real priority for me when I finished my degree. But of course, part of the transferability of these skills, it really encompasses these statistical based skills that I'm sure we all have, but also these non-statistical skills. So again, thinking about our soon-to-be graduates who are going to then go and apply for jobs, I just took like 5 minutes to look at the current job market in Glasgow. So I just looked in LinkedIn, some jobs around statistician, data analytic jobs, those types of things. And I just tried to pick out some of the key qualifications and experiences that companies are actually asking for. So I'm assuming these are the types of jobs that probably students in the degree program I'm talking about would apply for. And there's probably things here that we can all assume to be safe. So for example, they expect students to be, or applicants to be able to model data, have good data management, data mining, experience in using different softwares, and down the bottom here, we've got capable of simplifying complex data sets into simple insights with meaningful explanation. And I think that sentence in itself actually encompasses quite a lot of different skills. And the last one here for this particular company is flexibility with shifting priorities. So I guess here the idea is there's a real range of these statistical skills and non-statistical skills. And of course, I've got a few different examples here, but they're all very much the same, where we have, again, this is a different company and they want particular skills that we probably teach within our programme, maintaining certain dashboards. This particular company want someone to be able to develop strong working relationships with stakeholders, and again, probably within the non-statistical framework there. So in terms of the person this company are looking for, they want experience using different softwares that we probably don't cover all of them within the programme, and nor should we. We don't have to cover absolutely everything. They need to have strong analytical skills. We definitely cover that. They don't necessarily have to have worked in the public sector before, and they don't really need to have had a similar role before. So as long as they have these skills, they can really apply them to that particular role. And I think this is the very last one, but again, it's very much the same, where they want a master's degree in statistics or an equivalent subject, wanting programming techniques. They want someone that can adapt and respond to different requests. They want SAS here, so SAS might be a particular programming language that the student knows or they don't know, but that's kind of what they're looking for. So you can see here, just by the kind of 3 or 4 examples that I've given, there's a real mixture between the types of skills that students should have once they graduate in order to succeed later on in terms of employability. So as I said, this is very much based on a graduate employability survey that was conducted as part of one of our level 4 undergraduate projects. So level 4 in Glasgow is our final year. I appreciate that's not the case in other countries. So this was conducted this academic session, and it's based on this particular employability scale given in this reference here on the slide. And it really encompasses 5 different capital. The first is a human capital, capturing that subject specialism. So here are statistical analyses, programming, data analytical skills, those types of things. The second is a social capital, which is very much awareness of the job market and being able to, network, using communication skills, get in contact with kind of relevant employers. The next is a cultural capital, which really captures the kind of awareness and the confidence of the person, identity, to do with personal development. And the last is a psychological capital in terms of resilience and adaptability. They're obviously very key in life, not just in employability, as I'm sure we can all relate to. So in our particular case, we ended up with a survey containing 27 Likert scale questions. It was a 5-point scale from strongly agree, neutral, disagree, and strongly disagree, with 3 open questions. So the first was about the students' future career aspirations. The second was, what skills do students think would be helpful in employment? And the third was, what skills do students think would be helpful in employment that they learned in their programme? So this plot here gives all of the results from all 27 questions. There's a lot of information in this plot here, so I'm not going to expect anyone to put all in. But the only thing to point out here is that all of the 27 questions were related to one particular capital that we discussed before, so one of these 5. And these are just very, very simple summary statistics. So the kind of goldy colours relate to strongly agree or agree responses. The grey corresponds to that neither agree or disagree response. And the kind of green colour on this side corresponds to a disagreement or strongly disagreement, and there's percentages given for each of those particular categories. So we'll just take a wee minute to go through the responses to each of these capitals in turn. So the first is that human capital in terms of subject specialism. And I'm just going to point out a few key features here. I'm not going to discuss absolutely everything because that'll be a wee bit tedious. So down the bottom here, when students were asked if the skills they obtain through learning will be helpful in future employment, then 81% agreed. That sounds pretty good. And also the 81% agree that their academic background will help improve their career prospects. In terms of the cultural capital, then we can see, so I'm pretty sure this particular one asks for questions related to extracurricular activities. So here 67% said they took part in some sort of extracurricular activity. And from those respondents, nearly 90% said that they learned some work-related skills, and obviously that's really reassuring. But up the top here, just short of 60% said that they know what type of professional role they're interested in, which it is what it is. So in terms of the identity capital, in terms of personal development, then we can see here that just short of 50% of respondents said they had recorded personal development through relevant work experience, which doesn't seem that high. So bearing in mind, these are students who are currently looking in the job market. They're just about to graduate with a BSc in statistics. And again, just over 54% said they could list their strengths. And again, that doesn't sound that reassuring, given that these people, this should be the prime. They should be super confident going into that job market. In terms of the psychological capital, then again, down the bottom, we can see that just about 85% were optimistic in gaining suitable employment. Again, that's really reassuring. But up the top here, just short of 60% said that they were comfortable or agreed that they were comfortable adapting to setbacks. And again, that's, setbacks are a major part of life in all aspects, again, not just in employability. So students will face setbacks. They will face rejection when they come to applying for jobs. They're not going to get offered everything. Nobody gets offered everything. More often than not, they'll face rejection rather than success. And again, that's probably just based on my own experiences, where I've applied for a lot of jobs and you're just not always successful. So the last one is the social capital. And again, that's just about networking. It's about being able to pick out the key employers relevant to the area they're interested in and being able to network with employers, to try and get a foot in the door kind of thing. And the first thing to notice here overwhelmingly is that most of the colour on this plot is that kind of green colour in terms of disagreement. So in particular, when students were asked if they know the key employers relevant to their field, then nearly 60% disagreed. They can use networks or career contacts to receive the latest information for that particular field. 50% or just over 50% disagreed to some extent. And the question here, I'm confident in transferring my academic skills. Again, just sort of 50% disagreed with that. So actually all the things that I mentioned at the start in terms of, branching out lots of different applications, transferring those skills, it seems that for these graduates, well, they probably are confident in the skills they've learned in terms of statistical content, they're quite happy, but transferring them to a job market and knowing that job market, it seems that maybe there's a lack of something, confidence, we'll call it there anyway. So in terms of career aspirations, then actually most students mention something to do with banking or some sort of financial field. And I don't know if that's anything to do with the current job market in Glasgow or the current state of Glasgow, where we've had lots and lots of big banks recently open up massive campuses and buildings and new offices within the city centre. And I don't know, maybe that's influenced students in any way, I'm not sure, but it seems to be quite popular amongst these students anyway. So in terms of skills that they've learned, throughout their programme. So on the right hand side here, as I'm sure we can all expect, maths, statistics, programming, teamwork, problem solving. I'm guessing all, key concepts and lots of programmes in statistics anyway. In terms of the skills that the students thought they need in employment, then communication was pretty much mentioned by all students. They could identify that communication skills, being able to talk to employers, being able to communicate results, speak to different stakeholders. Students definitely appreciated this as a skill that they'll need. So I guess the major conclusions from this particular survey were that we know that programming and statistical analysis are core to a career in statistics. That's a given. But actually the transferable skills, or these kind of softer skills as we like to call them, they're actually equally as important. Just looking at the job market, and again, this is Glasgow, there's nothing special about Glasgow, I'm sure it's the same in lots of other places, maybe it's not, you can let me know, that these soft skills are actually equally as important to employers as these more technical statistical skills. So that really led to the question about how can we offer that more authentic learning experience for students to really help them develop those skills that they know they'll need as soon as they graduate. So these students, they're looking for jobs now. These are the skills that they need now. So in order to answer this question, and again, this very much comes on to future work, so I can't really comment on how successful it's been. So really the question is, well, can we look beyond the discipline? We're doing super well, at least in these student eyes, in terms of the programme and statistical technical skills. They seem happy with that, but not so much in these kind of softer skills. And this kind of led to the notion of peer learning. So in Glasgow anyway, and I'm pretty sure there's some learning developers here, there's some within your own institution. They've recently started this peer learning programme, and it's not just about extra teaching. So I've kind of got a little quote here. It's a really student-driven initiative, so it's by students for students, and it's meant to complement teaching. So it's not another source of teaching, it's not another way of us telling them about statistics. It's about something that can actually help complement the things that they're learning in the classroom, but it's kind of, students kind of learning from other students.
Sorry, so, 2-minute warning.
Yeah, sorry, I'll be 2 seconds. So really the idea here is, again, it's by students for students. So we have student leaders and student learners. And the leaders here on the left-hand side of this slide, these are all the things that actually involve being a leader within this kind of initiative. And you can see here that I feel that this really adapts to all those kind of non-technical, non-statistical skills that employers really look for. And more importantly, for these leaders, everything that they do here will be acknowledged in our academic transcript, so they can actually evidence to future employers that these are the kind of skills that they've developed through this programme. The benefit to learners, so these are the students that go along to these sessions, is they get to engage with the programme in other ways. They meet other students, they can learn from other students, and not learning statistical content, but learning all these other things, communications, what kind of jobs other people are looking at, what type of jobs are available, how they can transfer these skills. So all these other all this kind of other learning that happens away from our actual formal curriculum. And hopefully it'll build up a more collaborative environment for students as well. And I think more so, learners, if they're not final year students, they will have the option to be leaders in the next academic year, and they kind of get it to see it from both sides. Yeah, so that's very much everything that I've got to say, and thank you very much for listening. As I say, this initiative here is something that we're looking at trialing next academic year, so I don't really know how successful it's been, but it'll be interesting to hear how other people kind of work with these skills as well. So we're not just talking about the kind of more technical skills, how do other people incorporate and ensure students feel confident in these kind of non-technical skills? So yes, thank you very much for listening.